Hello everyone, I'm Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tijney, and I'm here with Coach David Cadbury to bring you once again some lap guides for this week's daily races in Gran Turismo 7. We're going to go through it in a bit of slow-mo, then into a fast lap, as well as look at some Delta data to see where I can improve and hopefully help you improve on your laps this week. First up, we're going to go to daily race A, where we're at Sardinia layout A in reverse, and we're in the Red Bull X 2014 Junior car. So here we are on the start-finish straight, going to head towards turn 1, which is actually flat out as you approach it, okay? As you come into this corner, I want you to head just to the right a little bit, extend the track just that tiny bit, gives you a better angle to come into the corner. Make sure you clip the curb on the inside, and you will not hit the barrier on the exit right there. We're going to continue to what you might consider turn 1, but it's technically turn 2 here, because this one you're going to have to brake for. So, I'm highlighting the 100 board right here, okay? This is my brake marker. So, as it hits just the rear view at the top there, I'm hitting the brakes. And I'm going to go all the way down to second gear. Not first gear, second gear. And the reason for that is I do not want the car to oversteer on the exit. And you can see I've just started to go on the brakes there. Here it is on chase cam, so you can see it's about in the middle of the screen if you do use chase cam, and you're going to see me approach and take a very wide line initially, trail brake into the corner, and then go through it. So here we go then. We're going to drop down towards second gear. We'll start to release the brakes to allow the car to turn. There you go, trail braking, trail braking. Instantly on throttle, 50%, then 75%, then to 100%. Now you may still suffer a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but the car will catch itself. So just let it oversteer a tiny bit. If it does do it, catch it nicely and then continue on here. We're going to head to a very difficult corner now, okay? This is a fast right-hander, and you can actually do this flat out, but some of you will just want to lift a tiny bit just to make sure you get round. I've highlighted two markers here. These are both turn-in markers. So you've got on the left, you've got this concrete going all the way down there, and the end of that, you want to turn in before you get to the end of it. Likewise, on the right-hand side, we've got this orange and blue barrier. This is also a turning marker, and you want to turn just before you get to the end of it on the right-hand side. Now, if you turn in too early, you're going to hit the barrier on the inside. And it's all about turning in just so it looks like you're going to hit the barrier, and then it will understeer out. Look what I do right here. You can see how close I get to the barrier right there, and then continue on. Now, if you understeer a little bit, it's okay. You can go two wheels off the circuit. Just be careful there, okay? We're going to continue on through now all the way up to the hairpin now, or arguably a hairpin, and we'll slow it down right here. So as the corner, you can see it's like a kink into a really sharp hairpin, okay, to the right-hand side. So what you're trying to do here is get as far left as possible to give you the best angle to attack the right. So you brake a little bit earlier here, not 100% because you're still turning a little bit. Remember, wheels can only do 100% of something. This is the rule that I go by. So if you're turning 50%, you can brake 50%. So I'm going to turn and go towards the left-hand side and stay to the left as much as possible. When I get straight, that's when I'm going to go hard on the brakes. Watch what I do right now. So now I'm going to get straight, hard on the brakes to start to release the brakes as I turn in here, staying in second gear once again, instantly going on throttle there to 50, to 75, and then to 100. It was progressive once again with the throttle. That allows the rear to grip up nicely. Then we can continue on down this back straight. Now that corner is critical to a lap because you have this long acceleration period, okay? So you need to make sure you get it right. So remember, just brake that little bit earlier on that corner. Make sure you attack the corner as far left as possible to then go into the corner very nicely. We're just slowing it down here. Then we've just gone past the marshals and we're approaching this sign on the left-hand side. Arguably, you could use the 50 board on the right, but I'm using the sign on the left-hand side. And I'm braking just before I get to that, which is just above my head right now. For this one, I want you to do a very, very, very late apex. Do not turn in too early for this one. It's so long, this corner, that if you turn in too early, you're just going to understeer out towards the barrier. Whereas if you stay out to the left and then come in and hit the late apex, you're going to actually accelerate through the corner really nicely. Watch what I do right now, okay? So we'll stick it towards the left-hand side. We're just braking right now. Third gear, we start to release the brakes. So there, we've still not hit the apex yet. Now we come in, there's the apex. We can accelerate through the corner. And look at that. We had a little bit of a wiggle in there. You may have just seen the car go straight a little bit. That's just me catching a little bit of a wiggle. But because I hit a much later apex, turned in much later, the car can just go through that corner much easier. It's very nice when you get that right. It's very hard to get right, and it's something that you will have to focus on. But when you do get it right, it feels so good. Now we approach a big chicane is what I would like to call this. So on the right hand side, I've highlighted a tree. and it looks far away. Now, there's a group of trees there, and then you've got a group of trees close to the track, which is very close to the 50 board. The faraway trees, which I've highlighted here, as it leaves the screen, hit the brakes. Now, it may seem like it's a bit too early, but it's not. It likes to lead you in this corner. You essentially want to brake early because you want to give yourself a better angle at the second part of the chicane. So you're going to come down to second gear right now then, and then you'll start to trail brake as you get towards the curb. We're then going to start accelerating. So we want to get over towards the left-hand side. We'll then turn towards the right now. We're then going to go up to third gear. Don't go over the curb, sorry. Just clip it slightly and then continue on through and you'll be fine. Now, you may suffer some understeer on the exit there. If you do suffer some understeer, don't worry. If you're 2 wheels into the gravel, just keep accelerating. The car will power through it. We're going to head to this right-hander now. Notice how we take this line. We're coming in quite late here. We're going to straighten up and then we're going to lift off to allow the car to go towards the left-hand side. And then what we want to do is hit the brakes before we get to the end of the curb on that left-hand side. Now, this corner is a really interesting corner. You can do it in second gear or third gear. Now, second gear is very tail happy. I highly recommend you don't use second gear here. Third gear will give you a lot more confidence on the exit. And when you build confidence in a lap, that's when you start to improve your lap because you go, okay, the car's not going to oversteer anymore. But if it's in second gear, you're like, ooh, is it going to do it? So watch what I do right now. I'm going to drop to third gear and I'm going to turn in very early. Notice the corner is cambered. So if I get in really early here, I can carry more speed anyway. Don't go over the curb. Just clip it once again and accelerate and go out wide as quick as you can. Straighten up the car and make sure you stay on the red and white curbing. That is track limits, but there's a lot of track limits there for you to use. It's only when you go over the red and white curbing, you've actually exceeded those track limits. We're going to head to the line here. That's a 1 minute 40.4. Let's go to a fast lap now as we head towards turn number 1. Remember, you can do this one flat. So head to the right side a little bit, then turn in, clip the curb on the inside, continue on through, head over towards the left hand side. We're looking for the 100 board hitting the rear view mirror at the top. There it is. Hit the brakes, drop down to second gear, trail brake initially, and then go on to throttle 50, 75, then 100, and you may suffer some oversteer. Just catch it if you do get it there. So continue on now. Looking at the orange and blue bar on the right side. Just before the end of it, we're going to turn in here. Lift off if you do struggle with a bit of understeer on the exit. However, flat out is the quickest way to do it, and you can do it flat out as I've just shown you there. Continue on up towards this corner. We've got a kink towards the left. We're going to turn in, brake a little bit hard on the brakes now as we go straight. Start to release the brakes, clip the curb on the inside, and then continue on out towards the outside there. Instantly get on the throttle. It's critical you get that corner right. Accelerate as early as you can to maximize the speed on this back straight. So just after the marshals, before the sign, hit the brakes. Very late apex now. Keep turning in there. Trail braking a little bit. Then we clip the curb, and then we continue on through. Notice how we carry the speed through there. We really just want to turn later, as late as possible there. End of the trees on the right side, hit the brakes, second gear, trail brake a little bit, instantly on throttle, head over towards the left, then towards the right, up to third gear, clip the curb, continue on through. Now all you have to do is think about the last corner. Okay, so as we approach this right-hander, we're going to turn to it, we're going to straighten up, and as we go to the straight point here, lift off, turn left, down the brakes a little bit if you need to, brakes before the corner, third gear, clip the curb on the inside, accelerate out towards the outside very quickly, red and white curbing is your track limits, and then we can head towards the line. And once again, that is a 1 minute 40.4. What we're going to do is now compare against some of the other pros and see where we can improve on the Delta app. So here we are on the Delta app, and I've loaded Suzu's lap, which is a 140.305. It's currently 1/10, just over 1/10 of a second quicker than my lap. So we're going to see where that is. So as we set off here on the lap, we're already a little bit down there. Now I'm just going to stop it here. Look at my speed difference. I'm down by 0.5 miles an hour. That's critical in this car. So I need to improve the start of my lap straight away to improve the lap time. But we're going to continue on here. That gap is going to stay about the same there as we head towards turn 1. So looking at 8 hundredths down at this moment in time. Not 8 tenths, that'll be quite a lot already. So as we go into this corner, I'm going to hit the brakes. I'm a little bit later on the brakes, only by a tiny bit, which is why it comes down there. As we go through the exit, Suzu's managed to carry a bit more speed there. Very interesting indeed. So as we get to the apex, 1 mile an hour quicker. So therefore gain some time. So we've lost another 8 hundredths of a second. I keep saying tenths there. Apologies. As we go to the fast right-hander, we go through here. I actually benefit there from taking that a little bit quicker. So does Suzu lift at all? Suzu does the lift. Remember, I talked about the lift. You can do this flat, remember. Suzu goes for the lift there to get that done. Whereas I do it flat, I actually gain that time back, or near enough gain that time back. Going to head up to the right-hander. I've always said this is the most critical part of the lap. I said that in the guide. So as we come into here, Suzu dabs the brakes a bit earlier than me. And then as we go to this corner, Suzu is more to the left than I am. Okay, and you can see that with the yellow dots just there. So the red line is my line, and the yellow dots just above that. So Susu's taking a better line through this corner. Okay, so as we come into here, 1/10 exactly. But as we leave, it's nearly 2/10 of a second. Susu benefits so much from that better line. And that's what I talked about in the lap. Getting as far left as possible to really reduce the angle of the corner, to accelerate through the corner and carry that speed. And that's what, I mean, look at the difference there in the middle of the corner. It's literally 2 miles an hour difference. It's significant there. And Susu then has the benefit going all the way down the straight then of that advantage. So as we approach this fast right-hander now, going into here, and about the same, come towards the chicane, about the same, we get towards the last corner, and we just benefit a little bit there on the last corner. We just carry a tiny bit more speed as we go through that. It'd be interesting to see the last gear. Yeah, so Susu goes down to second gear, whereas I think third gear is a little bit quicker, which is why I gain a tiny bit more time. That's not significant, but it's certainly there in terms of speed. As we look at that, so yes, I'm carrying a lot more speed through that corner, and that shows you that carrying the speed in this car is significant. We've seen that in the Delta app. Critically, the one place I really need to improve on, okay, is this corner here going onto the back straight, and that is a significant corner. That's going to be it for Daily Race A, though. We're going to go to Daily Race B now, where we're at the Nürburgring doing the sprint layout in Group 3 machinery, and I chose the Ferrari. So we're here on the start-finish straight, and on that right-hand side, in that nice lovely graphic, you can see +5 brake balance. So if you want to copy my brake balance, you can do that right there. So we're going to head towards turn number 1 now, okay? We're going to stick towards the left-hand side because it's a right-hand corner. What we're going to look for is that escape road right there. Now, it's just behind my head, so I'm going to make my head disappear just for a brief moment. So when the escape road goes into grass, that is my brake marker for turn 1. You can do this in any car, really. That is what you're looking for. It might be just before it or just after it, depending on the Group 3 car you use. I want you to stick towards the left-hand side. I want you to drop down all the way to first gear. Nearly all cars are going to be first gear going into this corner. But as you approach first gear, what I want you to do is to start to release the brakes, which will allow you to turn into the corner. Let me show you what I mean then. So we're on the brakes right now. Second gear, we're first gear. There we go. We release the brakes, and notice that as we release the brakes, the car wants to turn in. We clip the curb on the inside. We then go instantly on throttle, not 100% because we're letting the car balance itself. It's a little bit of a dip. The weight is transferring. So if you go to 50% throttle, the car will balance itself. Then you can go to 100% because the rear wheels have gripped. Now, I've highlighted this road on the right-hand side. So this is a marker to turn in. But as that disappears off the screen, I also want you to just dab the brakes just a tiny bit. Okay, now in some cars you will just be able to lift and let the car coast, but because we're on the racing hard tires, you do have to brake a little bit. We're lacking a little bit of grip here on the racing hard tires, so you just want the car to rotate a little bit just to get into the corner. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, just a dab of the brake, let the car come in there. Notice a small dab of the brake and a little bit more there. We then clip the curb here. Now I've instantly got on the throttle, maybe a little bit early here. What I am highlighting up ahead, though, is there's like a small tower there. We've got a portaloo there as well. Just that whole section, okay? This is your accelerating marker. So as it heads towards the center of your screen, that's when you're really going to want to start accelerating, okay? And as you're on the curb, it will rotate you a little bit. Now, you may suffer some power oversteer on the exit. You are going to have to be careful of that just because of the racing hard tires. They are very slippy on this combination. Watch what I do now. I'm starting to accelerate. I'm going to go up to third gear. Notice how the car rotates a little bit. I straighten up. I continue on. I've actually used the red and white curb in there as track limits. As we head down towards this left-hander here, this is where it gets a little bit complicated, okay? So I'm looking towards the end of the dark green patch on the right-hand side, but I'm braking before that. I'm using it as a distance marker, okay? Now, as I come into this corner, I don't actually want to turn in too early. I do want to aim towards the apex, though, or aim towards the corner. But as I head towards the corner, I'm going to start to release the brakes, and then the car's going to rotate. I actually want to cut the end of the curb, not the beginning. If you cut the beginning, you're going to get a track limit penalty. If you cut the end of it, you are not. So that is exactly what we're going to do right now. On the brakes, notice there we start trail braking. We're just bouncing the car accordingly. Notice there we're not cutting it yet. We then start to cut towards the end of it. This gives us an epic line for this right-hander. So we're up to second gear. As we approach the curb, we just lift off a little bit. That allows the front to settle down so we don't take off. Then we continue on and use all of the track limits there on the exit. And now we continue on towards the hairpin because remember, this is the sprint layout, not the GP layout. So we stick towards the left-hand side here. I'm looking for that 100 board, which is right behind my head. So I'll make the head disappear once again. So as you approach this corner, this is a corner you want to take a very tight line on. You do not want to run wide here. When you run wide, there is a lack of grip out there and it just slows you down. There is no benefit to taking a wide line here at all. Some people will say, well, you have a more stable exit. Yes, but you've also lost some time because of that exit. It's a very quick left-hander straight after it. So I'm going to aim towards the corner. I'm going to be hard on the brakes. I'll start to release the brakes as I approach the corner, okay? There we go. So hard on the brakes, drop to second gear now. I start to release the brakes to make sure I'm turning into this corner, and I need to stay as tight as possible. We just passed one escape road, and I'm highlighting escape road number 2. Now, this escape road right here is your accelerating marker. So you can see I've just got on the throttle there. It's just below 50% throttle because I need to get an idea of when this corner is going to finish. So if I go into start accelerating in second gear, the car's going to rotate just a tiny bit. Now, that rotation will actually help you on the exit because you can straighten up the steering and power out. This is an MR car, so it's even more beneficial in this scenario. Mid-engined, rear-wheel drive. The weight is over that rear. And notice there, we start accelerating. We're going to straighten up a little bit there, aim towards the exit curb. We use that exit curb, and then we can start to turn towards the right-hand side. I say it's very quickly into the next corner, which is why a wide line doesn't really work very well here unless you're after a bit of stability. Now, on the right side, we've got a portaloo and also a shed there on that right-hand side. Now, I'm just hitting the brakes here. Now, it's a quick dab of the brakes because we're not actually carrying that much speed. Now, you can approach this corner in 2 ways. Now, you can stay in third gear as you go into this corner, but you will suffer a tiny bit of understeer, so you have to have a bit of faith in the downforce. Alternatively, you can drop to second gear, which will slow you up a little bit more due to engine braking, but it will give you some rotation. You may even want to try a second to third gear scenario. However, I'm just going to stick it in third. I want to clip the curb on the inside, and then I'll look to start accelerating. Fortunately, this time, I've not actually understeered too much. We stop here in this next marker, and on the left-hand side, I've highlighted a marshal. I don't actually use that marshal, but I always point it out here at the Nürburgring because some of you do use it, and actually, it's a really good marker, which is always in the same place. I actually use a right-hand side marker there where the tarmac starts to disappear towards the grass. And it's just more of a reference here, okay? So as it starts to shrink, I know I need to start braking at this moment in time. Similar to the previous corner here, you can drop to second gear if you want a bit of rotation, or third gear and just try and manage the understeer as appropriate. So you're going to hit the brakes here and you're going to trail brake all the way towards the corner and then let the car roll. Notice there, look, I'm letting the car roll. Once I clip the curb, I can then accelerate out of the corner. And that is the critical part there. You have to clip the curb in order to get the best out of the car. Now, if you do understeer out into the gravel a little bit, if you've got 2 wheels in the gravel, you can power through it. So just keep going. You may lose a tenth, but potentially you're on an absolutely epic lap all the same. However, we're going to head towards the chicane now, and this chicane is a bit of a dodgy chicane, let's be honest with you. There is a bit of RNG, and what do I mean by RNG? I mean a bit of luck involved with the way the cars bounce. So, first of all, your brake marker. So we've got the drainage as it widens there on the right-hand side. You can use that as a marker. Or alternatively, the 100 board. It's in the exact same place, so it's your preference which one you pick here. So what you're going to do is brake in a straight line all the way to the chicane, and then you're going to be in second gear as you approach it. Now, when I say it's a bit of luck involved, it's the way the car bounces. So I tend to try and cut a lot of the first part of the chicane so I can straighten up on the second part and have a balanced exit. Let me show you what I mean here. So I'm hard on the brakes right now. I start to release the brakes. Notice here, I'm trying to cut as much as I can, staying on the red and white curbing. And then straight for this right-hander here. Notice that I turned a tiny bit on it, and that's caused a bit of oversteer on the exit. You do have to be careful of that. As long as you stay on the red and white curbing, the lap will stay valid. But if you can straighten it as much as possible, you are going to maximize your speed through the chicane. And you do need a bit of faith in the car on the exit as well. I've already stopped it on the last corner here, so right above my head we have an orange painted barrier. This is your final brake marker for this corner. I'm actually going to do this corner slightly wrong here on this particular lap, and you're going to say, Tidge, why are you showing me it then? Well, obviously, with the outage on the servers, I couldn't exactly perfect the lap, so I just put in a couple of quick laps just so I could bring you this lap guide to tell you how to do this lap. So as you approach this corner, you just want to trail brake all the way in. But notice as I come into this corner, I'm actually a bit out further wide than I want to be. So I have to over brake the car to then get the turn in. And notice I've just started turning in now. My accelerating marker stays the same though. And that is that pit wall there, okay? It's in between the pit lane and the racetrack. This, as it hits the edge of the screen, is your accelerating marker. You want to be on throttle at this moment in time. And what will happen is the car should rotate a little bit and you should be able to exit the corner. Now, if you're struggling with a bit of understeer, you can't go to 100% throttle. You may suffer some oversteer, so you may have to actually not go to 100% throttle straight away. But it's all about acceleration in this moment in time to carry the speed through the corner and be able to exit at a reasonable speed. Notice there, look at this, 100% throttle. We can then use the exit curb, and now we can head towards the line here, and that is the end of this lap. What we're going to do now then is we're going to start the lap here. So we're going to head towards turn number 1 then, and once again, +5 brake balance on that right hand side. On the left hand side, escape road to the grass there is our brake marker. We're going to drop down towards first gear, release the brakes, turn in, clip the curb, instantly accelerate 50% though, and then once the car settles 100%. Before the escape road there, turn in, dab the brakes a little bit, dab the brakes again, clip the curb, tower in the center of the screen, start to accelerate, third gear. Before the end of the dark green stuff, we're going to hit the brakes, stay out wide a little bit here, don't clip the curb too early, then cut it at the very end there, accelerate a little bit, second gear, lift off as you clip the curb. Once you're over the curb, 100% throttle, continue on, stay towards the left hand side now. We're looking for the 100 board for the hairpin. Remember, turn towards the corner a little bit here and release the brakes and stay nice and tight. There's the first escape road, there's the second one. We need to start accelerating, continue on through, use your escape road, head over towards the right hand side, shed on the right, there it is, hit the brakes, second gear or third gear, your choice, clip the curb, continue on through, head over towards the left side, marshal or end of the tarmac. We trail brake all the way through. Once you clip the curb, start to accelerate now, and then we head towards the chicane here at Nürburgring sprint layout. Then through the right hander we go. Remember, we're looking for the 100 board or as the drainage widens. Okay, where is it? There it is, hit the brakes, drop to second gear, turn in early, try and straighten this as much as you can. Through we go, over the second parts, just bounce the car a little bit. We had a bit of oversteer, unlucky there. On the left hand side, the orange painted barrier, there it is, trail brake in here. Then looking for that pit wall, there it is. We can start accelerating now as it hits the edge of your screen. Continue on through, head towards the line, and that is a 0.5 here, Nürburgring. Let's jump to some Delta data. Right, here we are in the Delta app then, and I've loaded Manu Rodri's lap, which is nearly 2 tenths quicker than my lap, so there is some significant gains for me to get in this lap. Now, I'm expecting the last corner to be of significance, bearing in mind what happened there, where I understeered a little bit into that last corner. So let's kick off this lap then. Let's find out exactly where I lose time. So I'm up here as we cross the line and head towards the one. I've had a good start to the lap. Now, the reason I've had a good start to the lap is I started out wide. Start out with a really wide line and then come back in. You could just be accelerating that a little bit quicker. You can see there, I'm 0.5 miles an hour quicker. So that is a significance there, half a tenth of a second. It's good to know here. So we're going to go in towards turn 1. Do we lose any time here? We do. We lose a little bit of time there in turn 1. In fact, Manu Rodri uses all of the track there and then some. We'll see if that benefits him, though, through this next corner as we continue on through. No, it's about the same there. So significantly, it's a good thing to note here, and Delta's shown us this. Manu Rodri may be quicker in the turn 1, but due to a compromised line for turn 2 and having to brake just that a little bit more, that has meant that I've actually benefited on the exit there with more speed. Okay, right. We're going to go into the next turn, and this is the left-hander, the one that I said you have to cut very late here as we continue on through there and through that sector. We actually are ahead at the end of that sector. That's significance there. We are up on the time, which is good to know here. So we did sector 1 perfectly. We're going to go into the hairpin now as we go through here, and we're still even, so I'm not too worried there. Now, this corner isn't like the end of the lap if you get this wrong. There's a lot of time elsewhere in the lap that can be gained. So as we go through the turn there, the left-hander on the right onto the back straight. There's a little bit there, nothing crazy. We just haven't carried in as much speed there. Critically, does Manu Rodri drop a gear because it's 3 miles an hour here initially? No drop of gear there. Yes, there is a drop of gear. There's a small drop of gear up to third gear, and that's just giving a bit of rotation. And that's what I talked about in the lap. You know, second to third gear rotation is available here. Now, I reckon I'm going to lose time at the chicane. Let's see what happens. So as we come into here, on the brakes, through we go. Yes, I lose a temp for a second. It shows you how much time is in the chicane and a bit of luck involved there as well. So as we go through here, Manu Rodri is carrying 2 miles an hour more speed there. It's an even. And as we get to the exit, 2 miles an hour once again. So Manu Rodri has demolished me there on the chicane. Last corner, this is significant, of course, because we're even right now. Obviously, I said Manu Rodri is 2 tenths up on me by the end of the lap, so I'm suspecting this is where I lose my time as I go into here. Yeah, look, it's the braking phase. I've just got it completely along the line. Look at the yellow dotted line there. I'm so far off it because I've understeered that bit too much, and I identified that in the lap. As we get to the exit there, I'm 1.5 tenths down. Well, nearly 2 tenths down, should I say, which is exactly the gap I'm missing to Manu Rodri. So my key focus here is going to be the end of the lap in terms of the chicane and the last corner. So for me personally, I got the last corner wrong, so that's where I need to improve. But the chicane, I still need to improve that a little bit more. Critically though, sector 1, happy days. We are flying through sector 1. We are well up by the end of that sector. That's it for Daily Race B though. Let's jump to Daily Race C where we're at our top list, and I chose the Nissan GTR. So here we are on the start finish straight, and if you're interested in my brake balance, it's on the right hand side there, +5 brake balance. As I chose the Nissan GTR Turismo GT500 for this. They're all as good as each other apart from the Audi, which is probably a little worse, but all the brake markers are the exact same for each of these cars. Okay, so as we head towards turn number 1 then, on the left hand side right above my head is the orange painted barrier. This is your first brake marker. You're actually braking after it leaves the screen on the left hand side. Okay, so you see it there, it disappears, then you're going to hit the brakes. Now with Group 2, it's all about how much speed you carry. There is so much downforce on this car, you have to believe in downforce, believe the car is going to stick. So it's all about carrying speed. So we're going to drop to second gear initially. We then want to get the car to turn in, and then we're going to short shift to third on the exit. Okay, that's to reduce some oversteer. So as we come into here, so we're in second gear right now, release the brakes. We want to clip the curb. We just missed it slightly there, so that's going to cost us a tiny bit of time. But into third gear, a little bit of a wiggle, nothing major there. We straighten up the steering. We continue on through. Now, if we'd have hit the curb there, we could have been able to carry a little bit more speed, and therefore the car will grip a bit more, and we could have exited a little bit more smoothly. In this situation, we didn't do that. We get to our next brake marker, where I'm going to disappear off the screen once again, and we have this escape road. Now, you're braking after this escape road, but before the 50 board up ahead. Okay, it's in the middle of these two. Now, critically, for this corner, you have to stay as far left as possible before you turn in. It has to be one smooth turn in. If you do it multiple times or turn in too early, you're just going to run wide on the exit. It's all about carrying speed, remember. So what we're going to do, we're going to stay to the left hand side. We're going to be in third gear, and then we're going to turn in. You can drop to second to get some rotation if you want to do that. So as we come into here then, there we go, third gear, clip the curb. We're going to continue on through then, accelerating. What we're going to do next is just dab the brakes and turn in. We need to clip the curb here because that will give us a bit of rotation. Accelerate a bit more. Look at this speed we're trying to carry. We're going to clip the second curb then. Continue on round. Now, as you get to this point here, the more left you are, the better you can do this hairpin. Now, I'm a little bit to the right, a bit more to the right than I want to be. More middle of the road is better. I want to use the end of that curb on that right-hand side as my brake marker. I want to brake just before I get to that, okay. Now, this corner, because it's a hairpin, if you come in nice and tight, it's not going to be nice on the exit. If you come in wide, it's going to be a bit nicer on the exit, because it's all about turning input. You're going to drop to first gear here, which means the car is going to be literally on the ragged edge. You know, we've got no downforce. It's a slow speed corner. So as we go through here, notice that we're trail braking below 50 miles an hour. I usually went on the throttle there to get a bit of rotation. Notice that 50% throttle for quite a while. Then up to second gear. I still had a bit of a wiggle on the exit. Then I can continue on. Low downforce situation, this car is going to be all squirrely, so you do have to be careful. It's why a wider line in is a bit safer to do. Right, we hit this fast left-hander now. We've got this big curb on the right side. This is just your turning marker for this one. Remember what I said about Group 2. The more speed you carry, the more the car will grip, and therefore the faster your lap will be. It's all about belief in the car. So as I turn into here, I'm going to be accelerating for quite a while. Now, some of you will just want to lift off just to make sure you get the turn in. I'm going to be aggressive on the throttle now as I turn into this corner, okay? Because I want to carry as much speed as possible. Now, I would stay out wide a little bit longer than you probably realize here, but I'm going to start to lift to then come in. I really want to clip this curb. Once I clip it, I can start accelerating. Critically, you should have hit the curb before that marshal box comes to vision, basically. So we've got the inside barrier there, okay? So literally, as that marshal box goes past the inside barrier, it's coming into vision, that's when you really need to be hitting this curb. It's also when you can start accelerating. So notice that I stayed in fourth gear. You can drop to third gear if you are struggling with a bit of understeer. However, you stay in fourth gear, you will carry a bit more speed. You won't have the engine braking, and therefore you should be able to go around this corner a little bit quicker in terms of speed. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've lift off a little bit there. Probably didn't need to lift off, but maybe we'll see that in the Delta app shortly. But we continue on out of here then. Be careful if you do touch the grass there on the right side, because that can cause you to spin out. So you have 3 arrows up here. There's the first one. Here is the second one. The second one is your brake marker for this hairpin. Now, critically for this corner, you need to make sure you clip the curb on the inside. If you don't touch the curb, your lap is rubbish, okay? And the reason for that is because it's a hairpin, but it's over the hill. So it's over a crest of a hill. So you instantly want to get around the corner as quick as possible to make sure you start accelerating downhill, okay? And you're going to have some stability issues on the exit because obviously you normally put all the weight over the rear wheels when you accelerate, but because it's going downhill, you can't put as much weight over the rear wheels. So do be careful. Now I'm going to take a wider line in here, but I need to make sure I clip the curb, and that's exactly what I do. Notice that I'm trail braking all the way to this curb. I'm instantly going to go on the throttle there. That's to balance the car. Notice that I'm not 100% for quite a while there. Even hitting second gear is when I just hit 100%. It's all about balancing the car on the exit, because if you accelerate too soon, you're going to spear off into the barrier, either left or right. Right, we head down the hill then. Now, this corner is a corner you can carry more speed than you realize. And most people, this is where your lap time will be lost, because you think, oh, I need to brake a lot here. No, you don't. You want to carry the speed through the corner now. So we've got a pole on this right-hand side. Oh, it's to dab the brakes, drop a gear to fourth gear, and then turn in. Okay, you got to do it in that order. So dab the brakes, fourth gear, turn in. And when you turn in, you're going to hit the curb. And the second you hit that curb, the car's just going to rotate and continue on through. Try and maintain as much speed as possible through there. Now, it might take you a couple of goes just to get used to this, but then you'll realize how much speed you can actually carry. Look at that. I've just chucked it in there. 125 miles an hour, 124 miles an hour as I continue on through. We get to the curb there, and just before the end of the curb, I'm just going to dab the brakes a little bit. Once again, similar to the previous corner, it's Group 2 is all about carrying speed. I'm just dabbing the brakes, and I'm going to let the car roll into the corner. I might dab the brakes a little bit more as I go into this corner if I'm carrying a bit too much speed. Critically, I want to touch the curb on the inside. But once again, it's all about carrying speed. You may drop to third gear if you're struggling a little bit with understeer, but fourth gear is the critical part of this. Third gear can get you in there, but I'd try and stay in fourth gear if you can. So notice there, just dab the brakes a little bit, dabbed it a little bit more. I've clipped the curb. I'm instantly trying to accelerate now. This curb will rotate me a little bit. I'm going to accelerate now. I need to get straight, ready for this left-hander. I turn in, plenty of time. I clip the curb. Now, I'm actually going to be pausing this right here, okay? Now, there are no brake markers here whatsoever. You're probably going, Titch, well, what can I do? Just get as straight as possible for this corner and then start braking, because all you're going to do now is trail brake and reduce the speed. You want to keep the car turning. Remember, a wheel or the tyres can only do 100% of something. That's my rule of thumb. This is how you learn. 100% of something. So if you're doing 50% braking, you can turn 50%. If you're doing 100% braking, you can't really turn. So you're going to watch me trail brake. I'm going to drop to second gear, but I'm going to short shift to third gear just for some stability on the exit. If I click the curb here, notice that I'm trail braking, still trail braking. I've got to second gear, let the car rotate. I go up to third gear, and then I'm just going to bounce the throttle all the way through here. Now make sure you get straight before you clip this curb, then turn left on the curb. That will force the weight to rotate. If you turn left too late, you're just going to understeer off. We're then bouncing the throttle all the way through there, just about like literally the car bouncing with the throttle, carrying as much speed as we can. We turn right into this final corner. Now there are two lines to take for this one. I've taken the more tighter line. You can go a bit wider and then get a earlier turn in and sort of a better start to your next lap. However, I'm turning in here. Now the start of the inside curb is your brake marker. Similar to all the fast corners we've done before, you're just trail braking. You're just carrying the speed as far possible into this corner, okay? And we do have an accelerating marker in the middle of this corner. Now, let me show you what to do here then. So I'm going to be in third gear as I go into here then. Look at this, trail brake, trail brake, trail brake, trail brake. Keep it nice and close to the curb. I'm still trail braking, and I'm looking for this orange square right here. This orange square is your accelerating marker, or at least get ready to accelerate marker. Now, I am a little bit too tight in this moment in time, so I am going to have to lift off as I go towards the exit. But even so, I'm still going to try and maintain some speed through the corner, because remember, the more speed I carry means the more downforce I have, which means I can actually get around the corner better because the car will grip and just turn into it. Suction down, goes round. It's a weird thing, downforce. It's like magic, but trust me, in Gran Turismo, it works. Downforce is critical in this game, and you're going to see that in a lot of cars. It's what the pros really do to maximize the cars here. Anyway, we're going to continue on through here. You can cut the inside of that curb there, but do be careful. It will cause a little bit of a jump there. We're going to head towards the line here then, and that is a 131.3. Going to go into a fast lap. Remember, +5 brake balance. The first brake marker is on the left-hand side. Orange painted barrier will brake just after that. We're going to drop to second gear here, turn in, short shift to third gear, and just be careful on the exit of power oversteer. Continue on through. We're going to head towards that left-hand side. Remember, after the escape road, before the 50 board, bang in the middle, stay as far left as possible, hit the brakes, third gear, turn in, clip the curb, then start to accelerate a little bit here. Dab the brakes, clip the first curb, accelerate a little bit more, lift off, turn in, and then we're going to hard on the brakes now for the hairpin. First gear, be careful on the exit here. Just bounce the throttle very nicely there, and then continue on out, straighten up as quick as you can. Head over towards the right side before the start of the curb, turn in and carry as much speed as you can, lift off, clip the curb, marshal box in the center of your screen, accelerate through, head up towards the hairpin then. Remember, it's the middle arrow, not the first one. There's number one, there's the middle one, hit the brakes. We need to make sure we clip the curb on the inside, bounce the car on the throttle. Look at that, literally not touching 100% until second gear there. We continue on out, we're going to head down here, pole on the right hand side, hitting the edge of the screen, dab the brakes, chuck it in, fourth gear, here we go, clip the curb, continue on through, maximum power, lift off now, just trail brake a little bit, dab the brakes, clip the curb, start to accelerate, continue on through, lift off over towards the left hand side, and then brake, trail brake all the way through to second gear, jaw shift to third gear, start to accelerate, carry that speed, make sure you straighten up, clip the curb, turn left on the curb, and then lift off a little bit more, make sure you clip in every single curb here, over towards the left side, and then the right, start the curb there, trail brake, orange square, start to accelerate, continue on through, cut the corner if you want to here, through the left hander we go, head towards the line. That's a lap here at Autopolis in this Turismo GT500 car. Let's jump to Delta. Here we are in Delta then for the final time this week. I've loaded Manu Rodri's lap, which is a 131.579. That's because it's in the same car, and we can look at this a bit more in detail. So I'm 2 tenths up on Manu Rodri's time, so this should give me a good indicator of where I'm actually improving over Manu Rodri, and potentially where Manu Rodri needs to improve, and maybe somewhere you can look at it as well. So we start the lap, even Stevens, as we get towards turn number 1. Now critically, as we go through turn number 1 here, it looks like I'm going to benefit there with a 600th gap there. Now, I actually did turn 1 slightly wrong. There's another 10th in there quite easily. So critically there, we're both losing time, but Manu Rodri is losing a lot there in turn 1. Very hard corner to get right turn 1 because it's a little bit blind, the apex. But it's all about carrying that speed on the exit. Don't turn in too early and you'll be absolutely fine. So we'll call it half a tenth there as we go into this section here. We gain immediately into this one. And again, it's all about carrying the speed. Look at the speed difference. That's 6 miles an hour difference. Massive. And again, it's belief in the car. The car will stick. Just believe in the car. Now, Manu Rodri takes then a better line for this left-hander. So it just gains a little bit back there. Now, as we approach this hairpin here, I'm going to go into this 1 and a bit tenths up. Okay, so as we go through here, we lose some time. And I want you to focus there on the yellow dots line in the hairpin there. Manu Rodri takes a slightly wider line, which gives him a better exit. And that's the critical part of that. And that's what I talked about in the lap, guys. We're going to continue into this fast left-hander here. And we gain a little bit of time there, nothing major. And head towards the hairpin. And we do gain a little bit there mid-corner, it looks like. So Manu Rodri's carried a bit more speed there. And as we go through this corner on the exits, Manu Rodri's carried a bit more speed there, to be fair. So it's actually catching me up a little bit, and then we start to match each other. Look, yeah, so Manu Rodri's got a better exit there. So I don't actually benefit at all from gaining there. Initially, in the middle of the corner, I did, but then on the exit, certainly didn't. Manu Rodri had a better exit there. So going into the fast right-hander, this corner, this is the one I talked about, the fast right-hander. Manu Rodri loses some time there due to the speed carried. We head into this next right-hander. And through this right here. Oh, we gain a lot into this section. This is a hard corner to get right. Remember, it's all about essentially carrying as much speed as possible here. So as we go through this corner, we're about the same speed-wise as we get to this moment here. Oh, yeah, look, I'm just carrying more speed. And I've got a tighter line than Manu Rodri as well. Look at that. It's 5 miles an hour difference. And I've got a tighter line. Downforce working well there. Downforce working well. We get towards the exit then. Manu Rodri's got a bit more speed on the exit due to the tight line. But once again, on the kink, remember what I said, you've got to make sure you turn left as you clip the curb. Manu Rodri is not turning left, and I can see that with the yellow line going out wider than me. So I gain a significant amount of time. So Manu Rodri, in my opinion, would need to focus here. And it's somewhere where you can focus as well. Carry the speed. So as you go downhill, focus on all this section. All about carrying speed. The more speed you carry, the more the car will turn. And that's what we've learned here from the Delta app. That's going to be it for me, folks, for this week. I do hope you have enjoyed this weekly race guide. As always, if you do have any comments regarding this video, make sure you put them down below. Give this video a like and make sure you're subscribed to the channel to stay in touch with all the detailed lap guides each and every week. Big thank you, as always, for watching. I've been Tijni, otherwise known as Martin Grady, and I hope to see you in another weekly race guide very soon.